Another session for Chellarams Plc. Glad to see so many of you here first thing in the morning, ready to learn a few more ideas, tips, more thought process on the table to help you with your careers. We've got two topics that we're focusing on today, which are going to be combined. The first 10 minutes or so, I'm going to focus on this topic, and then we're really going to focus on the second topic, which is more about unleashing your talent, understanding what your talents and strengths are, and then how does that link in with this topic over here, which is 6 steps to position yourself for a promotion. I love the word promotion because if you break it down, there's 2 parts there. One is pro. I love the word pro, and there's also the word motion. Yeah. So motion is all about movement and energy, and pro is obviously you're being professional about it. And put the 2 together, it should lead to some sort of promotion for yourselves. Now, I could probably spend an entire day talking about the difference between A and B individuals who have the same skills, the same education, the same knowledge, but one gets promoted and one doesn't. And what are the reasons? And I'm sure all of us could come up with 50, 100 reasons of why one gets promoted and one doesn't. But what I've tried to do today for you is to use, again, one of my favorite things is to use acronyms so it stays with you and you can remember it, and using the word prompt. Because for me, prompt is all about urgency and now. Do you want to do something about it today, or do you want to wait 10 years until you get promoted? So I'm using the word prompt as an anchor that whatever you decide to do to get promoted, it should have urgency and you should do something about it today. And what I've done is use 6 steps and 6 key words, and behind that I'll explain a little bit more about what each one really means. So let's have a glance at all 6 straight away, and then see what would be the ingredients behind each one of these words. So P for presentable, R is for reputation, O is for outstanding, M is for money mind, and I'll explain that later on, P is for passion, and T is for talent, which will take us nicely into the dream team model and understanding what your talents are. So let's focus on the first one. When I have the word up there, presentable, what comes up for you? Think about the difference of someone who's not presentable and someone who is presentable. What does that mean to you when I use that word? Anyone? By the way, you can get these down throughout the session. The flip chart details will stay up. What comes up for you? Anyone like to share?
Maybe from the person character, maybe it's not really presentable to the management. And from the perception of the way of dressing.
Okay, so one could be dress. Okay, we'll write down a couple of the sub areas. Could be dress. Okay, we're not saying it is. It could be. Okay, so dress could be one area. How you dress. Okay. What are the other areas? What comes up when it comes? When I'm saying presentable.
Communication skills.
Could be communication skills. Yeah.
Attitude.
Okay, could be your attitude. Yeah. Responsible, I'm going to get, that will probably be covered in one of the other areas, but that's a good one. The way that you speak. Okay.
Clarity of thought.
Okay, that's a deep one, but we'll put it up there as well. Okay. Clarity of thought.
The job skill itself.
Yes.
The job you handle.
We'll get to the actual job bit later on. Yeah. The IQ, it could be important, but I've met many people in the world who have low IQs, but they get promoted. Okay, so what I'm trying to give you is based on my experience of working in different environments with different people in 46 countries, and what are some of the ingredients of the ones who get promoted and don't get promoted. Here's a classic one to do with presentable. Once a bit, someone who used to work for a company called PwC, some of you may know the company PricewaterhouseCoopers. Okay, very bright individual, high IQ. Okay. Very intelligent, okay? A-grade student all the way through, GCSEs, A-levels, university degree, masters, PhD, you name it, he had it all, okay? And he's working in an environment with other partners of this company and accountants, etc., and consultants, and lasts only 1 year at the company. And somebody else in the same time gets promoted who did not have the educational background that he had, and did not have the IQ that he had, and all the great intelligence that he had. What was the difference? Well, I had a chance to interview, and I asked him, because when I was profiling him, I wanted to know what his DNA was. And I discovered that the person who did get promoted had something in common with what Jack Welch had said previously at a speech in America. Jack Welch is the ex-chief executive officer of GE, probably one of the most successful groups of companies, or group of companies, conglomerate in the world. If you look at their track record from 1981 to what he achieved in 20 years, it's phenomenal of what he built there for GE. And Jack Welch was doing a speech once, and I heard a bit of the speech where, you know, he was talking about the ingredients of success outside of purely education. And there was two things he was speaking about. One was the ability to network, which is how good you are building rapport with other people and building up your connections, was number one. And number two, your ability to present in public. So call them skills if you like, but those two skills were allowing people to become more presentable. And the same thing happened with this individual in PwC. Because what happened was the senior partners had certain gatherings, a bit like the gathering that we have, you know, every 2 months at MD's house on the Saturday, you know, for the senior staff. We have this gathering. Well, the senior partners in PwC also had gatherings. But this individual who was highly intelligent was quite introvert and didn't really want to socialize, even though he was invited. Yeah? He didn't want to socialize because he thought, that's not me, that's not the sort of thing I do. The other individual with less intelligence, less IQ, said, I'm going to take the opportunity, and went. But when he was there, when you're surrounded with other people, you can make a decision to either stand in the corner and do nothing, or hang around with someone that you already know. Or if you've got the prime opportunity to be in front of the chairman or the managing director or the partners, who should you be talking to? But yet, people will quite conveniently stand in a corner or only speak to the person that they know. So what this individual did is he went to those gatherings and he networked with all the partners. He got to know what was important to them. He learned more every time he went to the gatherings, what the situation was with their family, what sports they were into, what recreational activities, what was important with their vision for the company. Do you think he stood out? No. He got promoted within 12 months. While the other individual thought, what happened? I'm the most qualified person in this company to be promoted. What about me? Why didn't I get promoted? Interesting. So how good are you when it comes to working on being presentable? Yes, your dress is important. Okay? People judge you based on your first impression, on the first impression of seeing you within the first 30 seconds to 1 minute. It could be good or bad, it doesn't matter. Unfortunately, it's false as well, because your true personality is not coming through. But the reality is they're going to judge you based on meeting you the first 30 seconds. So here's another word that you may want to write down for presentable, which I heard many years ago from a friend of mine, and I love it, is how do people like you or not? Likability. Do people like you or not?
Does it have to do with the personality? Because personality is the totality of all these we are spelling out.
Your personality and elements will fall into this bit here as well, which is talent. But what I'm talking about is skills that everyone can learn and develop. You can learn how to build rapport up with someone. You can learn how to dress appropriately, depending on the environment that you're working in or the person that you're connecting with. These are things that everyone can learn. So whether you have the personality or not would be irrelevant. You have to go, if you don't have that natural person, you have to go work even harder in these areas. If you have the natural personality, then it's going to work to your advantage. But I've seen it time and time again within organizations of people who pride themselves of thinking that they're brilliant in a certain area, but yet they're not presentable, they're not likable, they don't dress right, they don't have rapport, they don't build that rapport with people, and then they wonder why they don't get promoted.